Hello mates, welcome to Full Stack Java Developer. I am Kiran Jadhav here. In this session, I will teach you J2EE JDBC concept. See, J2EE it means Java 2 Enterprise Edition. In that, there are three things comes like JDBC, Servlet and JSP. Then in today's session, we'll go ahead with the Java database connectivity. It means JDBC, and database we are using here as a MySQL database. Then here in JDBC, our Java application goes to communicate with the database. For that perspective, we are going to use MySQL connector jar file as well. Then first I will show you some theory like what are the steps we required for JDBC, and then we'll start with the practical example. See, here JDBC it means Java database connectivity, and we require there 5 steps. Like first one is load driver class, the second is establish database connection, third is the create statement, and the fourth is execute query, and the fifth one is optional like close database connection. Then see, we'll start with our hands-on for Java database connectivity. Then first I will simply go ahead with the SQL yoke. If you have workbench, you can use the workbench as well. Then first we'll create the database. Create database name I am giving here as HRM. Next we are going to use this database name, and in the database we are going to create the table. Create a table name I am giving here employee. Then employee have emp id as int, emp name as varchar, the max size I am giving here 255. We are just going to add here emp salary as well, and this will be double, employee salary as double. Now we are adding here primary key. The primary key will consider here emp id as a primary key. Then I am just going to execute this query here. Then see on screen, table is created successfully. Once table is created, then you can simply use desk employee. Now there is available primary key as emp id, and this is not null. Perfect. Then we are going to insert data into the table. For insertion perspective, I am using here insert SQL. Then see on screen, I am just using here insert into employee values, giving here values as 121 as Sora, the salary as 97,000.96. we are expecting to insert 5 employee records here. That's why I'm adding here, copy paste those inserts. This will be 122, 123, 124, 125. Each one we are giving different name of employee. Then here I am giving Aparna. The next and last we are giving here Rutuja. Then each employee we have different salary. See on screen. Now we'll select those all and simply go ahead with the execute. There are 5 queries executed, 5 success, 0 errors, 0 warning. It means data inserted successfully. Next we are trying to read it by using select star from employee. We are just using here select star from employee. See, select it and execute. See, there are 5 records available. Now if you are going to check it, right, see, there is available 5 records. Perfect. Then whatever records available there, we are trying to fetch this data on Java console. For that perspective, we are going to create the JDBC application from Java side. Then come up with the Eclipse, file, new, dynamic web project, and the project name I am giving here JDBC application. See, our project is created successfully. Now we'll simply come up with the src main Java. You can right click on that, new package, and the package name I am giving here, this is com.fullstack.jdbc. See, our package also created successfully. Once package is created, in that we are going to create new Java class, and the Java class name I am giving here JDBC connectivity. Otherwise you can simply say JDBC example. See, here our application like example also class also created successfully. In that I am just going to add main method. Now we have here 5 steps for JDBC, right? The steps I will go to list out here. Then you can simply say those are the steps for JDBC. Then here first step, load driver class. Second step, establish database connection. Third step, create statement. Fourth step, execute query. And the fifth one, this is optional for us, close database connection. Those are the 5 steps we are going to follow. Then out of that first step we are going to follow here load driver class. How? Simply use class dot for name, and here we are passing the MySQL driver class. Then we are using here com dot mysql dot cg dot jdbc dot driver. Then here we need to handle compile time exception. The exception name as class not found exception. See, here is it. We handle this exception. Next step is establish database connection. This is the step number 2. Establish database connection. Then we require the connection class here, right? Then connection class we are just going to mention here connection equal to initially null. See, connection is an interface coming from SQL package. See, here is it means interface. It's coming from java.sql package. Now coming down here, simply add connection equal to driver manager. Driver manager, it is a class coming from java.sql package. Driver manager dot get connection, and here I am passing the connection URL. What is the URL? The URL is JDBC :mysql /localhost. The port number is 3306 and the database name is HRM. And I am ignoring the SSL warnings, that's why I am using question mark. Use SSL equal to false. And after that we are using here username of our MySQL and the password of our MySQL root. Then here also we need to handle compile time exception. The exception name is SQL exception. See on screen. We handle here which exception? SQL exception. Perfect. Now coming to step number 3. The step number 3 is create statement. Then simply here I am using statement. It is an interface coming from SQL package. Statement equal to connection dot create statement. Once statement is created, the next step is execute query. The step number 4, execute query. For that perspective, whatever result we are getting, we are going to store in result set. I am using result set is an interface coming from SQL package. Result set equal to, you can simply use statement dot execute query. And what is the SQL? The SQL is / from employee. Whatever SQLs we have given here, right? Then this is / from employee. You can simply pass here as it is. / from employee. See, here is it. This is our SQL. Then whenever we are going to read data, that time we are using execute query. And if you are doing manipulations like data manipulation, then that time you can simply use execute update. Execute update we are going to use for insert, update, delete. But if you are trying to use select operations like DDL, data definition language, then you can simply go to the execute query. We are retrieving the data here, right? Then for iteration perspective, I am using file loop here. Result set dot next. Next is a method, itself return type is boolean. If data available there, it will return true, and definitely inside file we are going to print the record. Like result set dot get, this will be int. We are reading here first column. I am using here /t to add some space there, like tab you can simply say. Result set dot get, this will be string like name, second column. Again we are using /t, and result set dot get double, this is the third number column. Control A, Control I, Control Shift F. Then here we require the jar file, and if you are not using jar file, it will give us class not found exception. Then coming to src main, we have webinf, and in lib folder we are just going to add the jar file. Then the jar file I will copy from my local folder, but in your case you can copy the jar file from our GitHub code. This code base will be I am going to add in GitHub, and GitHub URL will be available in our YouTube video description box. Not only for this video, for all the projects, all the applications, I will add the GitHub URL. Okay. Then see, we have added the SQL connector jar, MySQL connector jar in lib folder. Then coming to main class and simply right click and do run as Java application. What we are expecting, if everything is fine, we are expecting whatever data in database, those will be available in our Java console. See one screen. See, here is it. All data available there. If I am going to insert one more record here, suppose I am going to add here 122, and here I am just going to add the record for Lakshmi, and the Lakshmi salary I am giving here 2,50,000. See one screen. Insert into. Done. But it giving error. The reason behind that, we have primary key is never duplicate, right? Duplicate entry for 122. We need to change the employee ID because this is primary key and this is never a duplicate. It always unique. Perfect. Then again insert. See, one success. It means data inserted. If you are using /star from employee, the last record available for Lakshmi. I hope you are able to see on screen, right? 1001 Lakshmi and the salary is 2,50,000.96. The same data we are expecting here. Simply do run a Java application. Whatever data in database we are expecting on Java console. See, here is it. Perfect. Yeah. Then I will explain this one more time. JDBC application. JDBC, it means Java application goes to communicate with database, and those are the steps we need to follow for JDBC. The step number 1, load driver class. Step number 2, establish database connection. Step number 3, create a statement. In statement there are 3 types of statement available: statement, prepare statement and callable statement. Mostly in upcoming sessions I will go to the prepare statement. The reason behind that, if you are going to work on large data sets and if you want good performance, then go ahead with the prepare statement. The 4th is execute query, and the 5th one is close database connection, but this is optional. We haven't used here close database connection, right? Yes, but if you want to use close database connection, then you can simply use here finally block, and there we are using connection dot close. See one screen. Now here we need to go to the surround with the try catch, otherwise throw declaration as SQL exception. See, here is it. Now there is no any issue. Simply do run as Java application. It will give us the output. See one screen. Perfect. Then see how we are loading the driver class. For that perspective, we are calling here com.mysql.ch.jdbc.driver. Okay. For that, we are able to understand we are loading the driver class for MySQL database. Next is establish database connection. For that perspective, we are using connection URL jdbc:/mysql:/localhost. Instead of localhost, you can give the IP address as well. Then colon, we have port number available 3306, and then database name. And at the end, we are using username of our MySQL and the password of our MySQL. Then coming to next is create statement. For that perspective, we are going to use here connection and we are going to create the statement. Then 4th number, execute query. Here we are using execute query. The reason behind that, here we have available select operation. But if you have any insert, update, delete like manipulations, then instead of execute query, you can use the execute update as well. For retrieving data select operations DTL, we are using execute query. Then why we require the while loop here? Because if there is available more than one record, then definitely we are going to iterate it. Then here we are calling next method and itself available return type as boolean. If in result set there is available data, the next it will return true and it will execute those printing statement number of times, right? It will help us to print it on Java console. See one screen. And the last one is 5th number. You can simply say this is optional for us. Which number step? Close database connection. We have finally block here, right? Yes, this one. This is optional. If you are not using, that also fine. Okay. Now simply do run a Java application. It will give us the output on screen. Perfect. And there is one more thing from MySQL 8. You don't require to load the driver class as well. You can simply check. Now I am just going to comment it out. Step number 1. See, and coming down here. See one screen. I just commented here load driver class step, right? Then also we are able to see the output on Java console without any issue. See one screen. Perfect. It means this step is not mandatory nowadays. Load driver class. Okay. Yeah. but whenever I am sharing this option with you, I will share this entire option. There will be available load driver class and everything. Fine. Yeah, I will share this code base with you. You can simply download this code base from GitHub. Otherwise, you can simply clone it into your local and simply refer the application for your Java database connectivity. Then upcoming sessions, I will cover up some deep dive into SQL as well as JDBC. Okay, and we'll cover up the one project as well. I will think like we are going to cover up here banking project in upcoming sessions. Fine. Yes. And if you are facing any difficulty, you can simply feel free to add your comment in comment box. I will be available here to help you for that. Fine. Then thanks for watching this video. Please do like, share, subscribe the channel to get more updates, and see you in next video.